and as soon as I mention that I don't get many game keys from developers, another one drops into my lap. Have I ever mentioned that I don't own a self-cleaning mansion full of cats? Just saying. Spookily, the key was sent before the last video went up, so I don't know how they managed that. Dear devs, if you're watching this, please only use your powers for good. Anyway, the game key was for a game with the full title of Captain Disaster in Death Has a Million Stomping Boots, as the title screen will loudly remind you every time you run the game. I'm going to abbreviate it to Kadidhamsba for the sake of my throat. Also, this is giving me the longest install path I've ever encountered that was not created by myself due to a programming fuck up. Fun fact, by the way, you can make file names so long that Windows Explorer has no idea how to deal with them. Okay, sidetrack over. Kadidhamsba comes from Team Disaster, insert obvious joke here, and it starts off something like this. Space weirdos are plotting to take over the galaxy, and also this starship captain needs a job. And an onboard AI companion to remind him that money is something he needs. He finds a simple delivery job and takes it, wherein our dear captain lives up to his name by getting stranded on the planet he was meant to be picking up the package from. Shenanigans happen. There we go, second shortest story section I've ever done, probably. I imagine this opening is standard fare for a man by the name of Captain Disaster who's living that trash lord lifestyle to the full. Glib as I may sound about the intro, you really don't get much more information than what I just said regarding the sinister alien conspiracy, and given that this is clearly a comedy game, I doubt it's going to be that important. Now, what we start off with seems like some standard fare for modern AGS engine games. 2-button interface, pop-out inventory, keyboard shortcuts for dialogue choices, clicking to select inventory items rather than having to drag them, all that stuff I've praised before and will praise again. Weirdly, the graphics remind me of very early AGS games where the artwork was almost exclusively done in MS Paint. It's a comparison which is almost always a criticism, but not here, that's not what I'm saying. It's a low-res style which had a certain level of charm for me, but was not without its problems, more on that later. The creators of this game clearly had some older titles in mind during development, made most obvious by the several hundred references and shoutouts in the script. Red Dwarf, Star Wars, various Star Treks, Indiana Jones, Monty Python. There was a theme here and it went away. Point is, there was a plethora of references. Please note that the definition of plethora is actually too many. Part of the problem for me is that many of them were either too blatant or just not funny to me. I mean, it's a step up from those accounts that are like, hey guys, remember Mario, am I right? Like and retweet, like as if he's not the most recognisable video game character in history. But it either feels lazy or it doesn't do much for me depending on the execution of the particular gag. On top of that, these references appear so frequently that it honestly got a little grating. Note that this is mostly confined to the first act, and some actually hit the mark pretty nicely. Those would be the ones that are more meta as opposed to change literally one letter of something that's well known. Yeah, those ones not so great. Sadly, the acts drop in quality as they go on. Act 1 clearly got the most love, being the longest by a significant margin, and having quality of life improvements like fast travel via leaflet, as well as an interesting scenario. Thanks to a machine malfunction, you can understand the locals, but they can't understand you. I thought it was interesting anyway. Past that, Act 2 suffers from being a series of really unintuitive puzzles and features something that bothers me more than it should in video games: arbitrarily restricting access to an area because you're not far enough along the puzzle chain. By arbitrary, I mean your protagonist basically says he doesn't feel like it before later deciding, yeah, I'll go this way, without so much as a comment. That kind of thing will lead me straight to a walkthrough, let me tell you. A walkthrough that turned out to be written by the devs themselves. Good on them. Kinda wish more games would do that if they don't have built-in hint systems already. Although for all I said about Act 1 getting the most love, the same walkthrough warned me about a game-breaking bug that apparently hasn't been fixed. Put simply, make sure you pick up the item that appears next to the bartender once you're done talking to him, because it won't respawn. In fact, save as soon as you enter the bar, just in case. This may not be a save early, save often type of title, but trust me, it's needed at this particular point, just for safety. Final Act 3, on the other hand, has a dose of poor design decisions to deal with. Example 1, a puzzle that makes you travel between 3 different rooms to interact with 3 different objects in a certain order. Exit room, enter another room, interact, repeat. 5 years ago, holy crap, really? Damn. 5 years ago I was talking about Broken Sword 2 and I said, if you know the solution, you should be able to implement it without all this fannying about. My opinion hasn't changed. Soon after that, your character will get trapped in place for reasons I won't spoil, and you need to interact with an object that you're standing in front of. Kind of hard to line up the cursor in that scenario, you know? Not quite as hard as the puzzle after, where you need to line up your mouse cursor punishingly close to the objects, if you can find them in the first place. This is exactly the kind of pixel hunt they explicitly make fun of 2 acts prior. Maybe some of those are easier to do on a larger monitor or something, I don't know. It feels weird to me that such things could be missed in testing. Following that, we have a room which is dangerously close to a random exit maze, where both finding and utilising said exits has its annoying bar set to full. I remember every exit being marked prior to this room deciding against that and pretty much making you guess as to where to click. And I've saved the nitpick for last. I didn't like the main character's voice. Something about that brand of Brummie accent didn't agree with me. Nothing against Birmingham, never been there, never heard anything bad, but just this guy's voice kinda irked me. And then I got used to it and it didn't irk me, so I don't know when that happened or why. This has left me a little flummoxed, to be honest, because I'd heard great things about this game before playing it. Most of them were true, but there was either something working against it, or I didn't enjoy these praised parts as much as other people. I mean, this was nominated for several AGS awards, that ain't nothing. I'm not being contrarian for the sake of it, and I did like some of the puzzles and humour, but I don't think the good to bad ratio is high enough to recommend this. Thankfully you don't have to, nor have you ever had to, take my word for it, because you can find out for yourself. Not only is there a free demo of Kidid Hamsbu, but our dear captain also has a freeware game called Captain Disaster in the Dark Side of the Moon, so you can try those out and see if it's your cup of tea. As for me, I'll hope the next Captain Disaster game turns out more to my liking.
Some relationships there.
So, you sell speeders?
That's right, I sell the finest speeders in the quadrant. They're all the rage. I'm told they're real chick magnets. And anyway, you'll need one if you want to visit Arcturus 1's famous rubbish dump.
I'm selling these fine faux leather speeders.